Um, Thank you very much for having me here. I thank Gabby and Oracle for hosting us in this workshop or presentation. I would apologize in advance because of my allergy. I think you have noticed, and that's why I need the mic as well. I cannot speak loud. In any case, I'm going to be short and brief. It's actually not a presentation as much as sharing thoughts and sharing our experience with IGABI and telling you what is it that we have done with them. When I was coming here, I was thinking, I wish that this was a little bit later, where we would have been actually live and running, then I could tell you the whole story of actually how is it also after having tried offset and video. But in any case, I think I will just share with you what have we done so far and what are the lessons learned from us and how did we find the experience that we went through. As some of you might know, Bachelet had decided to change its core banking system a while back, and we went live in July 2011 with a new core banking system. At that time, we chose Oracle iFlex or FlexCube, which is one of the best core banking systems worldwide. According to Gartner, as many of you here would know, it is placed in the magic quadrant, as they say, and I think some other systems that some of the banks here are implementing fall in the same category. Thank you very much for having me here. I thank Gabby and Oracle for hosting us in this workshop or presentation. I would apologize in advance because of my allergy. I think you have noticed, and that's why I need the mic as well. I cannot speak loud. In any case, I'm going to be short and brief. It's actually not a presentation as much as sharing thoughts and sharing our experience with IGABI and telling you what is it that we have done with them. When I was coming here, I was thinking, I wish that this was a little bit later, where we would have been actually live and running, then I could tell you the whole story of actually how is it also after having tried offset and video. But in any case, I think I will just share with you what have we done so far and what are the lessons learned from us and how did we find the experience that we went through. As some of you might know, Bachelet had decided to change its core banking system a while back, and we went live in July 2011 with a new core banking system. At that time, we chose Oracle iFlex or FlexCube, which is one of the best core banking systems worldwide. According to Gartner, as many of you here would know, it is placed in the magic quadrant, as they say, and I think some other systems that some of the banks here are implementing fall in the same category. We decided that we would go first with implementing the core banking system along with CBIL and the HRMS. And as I said, we went live 2011. In our case, we had made the decision to do things on phases. Just do the core banking, stabilize it, then go to the next level of implementing the offset and Hyperion and get the other level or take it to the next level of benefit of the system, and then hopefully look at deploying a business intelligence system or a business intelligence tool. When we started, of course, I think some of you might be a little bit aware of what offset Hyperion offered. I will just be brief of what we thought then, or what was the thinking process in our case. I'm sure later in the day you're going to get all the details that have to do with these systems. But when we started looking at offset, offset stands for Oracle Financial Services Application, Analytical Application. So it takes you to the next level of looking at the analytics and actually making the most out of the numbers and making the most out of the systems. And several modules, one of which has to do with the fund transfer pricing and profitability. The other has to do with profitability management, and it also looks at the asset liability management of the bank. So actually it gives that consolidated view of what you're doing, and it really allows you from a business point of view to gear the business and to shift the business. I think most of you know, really the ones on the business side, that these are very important financial tools today that help banks actually gear their business completely. When you see how this works, you see that this is these tools are very important for you to really grow in the segments that you want, and to understand your profitability, and to understand your balance sheet, and to understand where would you like to gear your business. When we looked at this project, we had several goals. Of course, it also allows you to do better cost control. You look at the profitability per segment, per channel, per officer, and you really get a well-defined and detailed view of how all your business streams and business channels are doing, which enables you to make much better business decisions. I think in terms of benefit, really this is a great tool for top management, I would say, and middle management to make much more enlightened and much more educated decisions of gearing the bank. And I think the decisions and the experience there can also affect the direction and the strategy of the bank as you understand really the performance of the different segments that you have deployed or that you have targeted, and the different products that you have actually implemented. And of course, the system, when you look at OFSA and so on, definitely, as the case in many of the world-class applications, it has a built-in knowledge of best practice that comes, international best practice that comes from some of the leading banks worldwide, and as such it helps, it also gives an insight. You would start with a vision of what you think you want to do, and then that develops more and more as you see what are the possibilities, what are the practices worldwide, and what are the possibilities for what you would like to do. Also, I think that OFSA empowers the users. It allows the users to do their own queries, to design their own reports. I think today we know that we live in the age of the power of information and the power of knowledge. And it's always sad to know that we sit on treasures of information and treasures of knowledge that we cannot really make use of. And I think in everything, not only in banking today, data mining and getting an analysis of data and getting conclusions out of data is something that has become in every aspect of business today for you to make proper decisions. Of course, also it's very important, all of you from the banks know that today there's a lot of pressure on the people working in IT. And the more you allow the business users to take command of parts of the data that they need, and to sort of be able to look at them and manipulate them in the way that is best suited for them, you actually free up resources and you enhance response times and you enhance efficiency in the organization. As for the Hyperion, as you will see in details, really has to do mainly with budgeting and planning for the organization. You will see that it is built on what we all of us do actually in the organizations, but it just allows you to do everything automatically and efficiently, and be able to capture data in one place instead of having 1,000 Excel sheets all over the place and pools of data everywhere, and you forget which version was there and was what and all of that. So it will allow a very consolidated view of budgeting and of budget management and of budget reporting. And it will allow you also to run several parallel scenarios of a budget when you want to see impact, and you want to see what if we do this, what if we do that, and adjust during the year and get proper reporting for also top management to see how things are going and to see if there are decisions that need to be made to change what has been started during the year or to make adjustments, and all of that is possible automatically and to be done online. When we decided, actually in our case, we thought we would give some time for our core banking system to stabilize completely and mature, and do all the health checks after going live and make sure the data is stable and everything is okay, and then start with the implementation of OFSA and Hyperion. I think in any case it's a decision that any bank can make individually. You might decide to go with everything together. You might have your own existing core banking system and decide just to go with OFSA and Hyperion to enhance your financial management and the way you make decisions. And but in our case, we were there anyway, and we had a new system. It was a chance to have clean data, and we had done all the data cleansing, and we had reviewed all the GL structure of the bank and all of that, having in mind that we are going to go to OFSA and Hyperion. So it was a good chance to look at what GL structure is proper for you, then to implement the more advanced or the value-added applications. In terms of technology, in our case, our banking system was already Oracle or FlexCube, so it was not a worry in terms of integration or technological hazards or problems, because anyway it's an integrated system. From what I understand, and I think the team will later tell you, that it can be implemented over many other systems, but in our case it was not something that we needed to worry about. Now we went to the decision of, okay, we're going to go to phase 2, how should we do it and who should we do it with? Frankly, we did a very thorough assessment of going with Oracle itself. Oracle had done the implementation of the core banking system for us, or going with one of the Oracle partners, and we looked at all what exists in the region and what exists in Jordan and everything. Why did we choose to go with IABI? Actually, at the time, we looked at all the certified partners, and the one that Oracle considered very reliable partners. Many were platinum partners, golden partners, and IABI is a platinum partner to Oracle, as I believe. So we thought, okay, we will assess many possible partners, and in their case, we saw that they are a platinum partner. They have very high level of focus on the banking industry and on financial services. At the time, we saw a track record of actual implementations in other banks in Egypt and in the region, which made a lot of sense. And we also thought that culturally, from a way of doing business point of view and a language point of view, etc., that would be something that should be comfortable, and communication should be easy, especially that you're going to be talking about concepts and you want to make sure that your counterpart understands what you're talking about and understands terminology used in our parts of the world and understand the requirement, basically. So we thought from the presentations that this looked like okay. The team, frankly, made very impressive presentations, and we were all weary. Is this the golden team we send to get people just sign the contract, and then you get somebody else? So all through the presentation and all through the negotiation, we kept saying, who are you going to send to us? Because all of you know that when you're talking about consultants and when you're talking about implementations, the people on the ground and the team on the ground matter a lot. So we wanted to make sure that we get a team with that same level of sophisticated understanding. And actually, for some of them, I was very impressed with their understanding of the banking system and the financial models of banks more than technology. It was really interesting to see that they really have a great grasp of what's in it from a business side, not only looking at technical things and technical implementations that come up to writing programs. Not at all. There was a very clear understanding of functionality, of banking business, and of how decisions and technical decisions and all the decisions made come on the table of a manager, of a financial manager at the end of the day, and how are they going to make use of it, basically. Then we decided we're gonna go and go with them, and we're going to see if we're gonna go with this implementation. And of course, we made them swear 100 times that, and I advise you to do the same if you're gonna go with them, that it is going to be a great team, and that it is going to be a swift and clean implementation. In our case, we have been going through so many changes and so many projects. So you know the organization gets tired after a while if you keep going through implementations and change and so on. So after the core banking system and going live and the cleanup after, and after maybe 10 other projects that we were going through at the same time, I wanted to make sure that this is really clean and really swift and people find it as a reliable experience. We started the Hyperion maybe a year after going live, which was more or less August 2012, and gladly the project was completed in 8 months, actually a bit better than what was promised. And the work has completely been done from Ijabi side, and they went home. We had a little bit of things that we needed to do in-house for us to be live and to actually start implementing the system. The Jordanian bankers here know that we are going through some project with the central bank of reporting the online information, which is referred to as the OSS. So we decided that we're going to do some alignments and data cleansing and so on among the two before we actually go live. That's why I tell you I'm missing the last piece of actually turning the system on and trying it and tell you how does it look in terms of real implementation. For the OFSA, we actually started around last October, and now it's 7 months or so, and we're maybe 75% done, and we're completely according to plan, and that is very pleasant because like the delays and so on. So we're really happy about this. For the users or the bankers in the room, and especially from a business point of view, if I don't yet have anything to share with you in terms of how does it look like after we went live and to give you any advice, but I can give you some advice of, okay, if I were to do this again, what are the things going through the implementation and the definition and the scope definition phase and all of that. Talking about scope definition, actually, one other thing that was really good and we felt that was reasonable. After having gone through several implementations, I think it's very important to know that your counterpart is receptive to any change in requirements and to some amendments that you make a bit later, because it's never the same understanding when you start and after you are in the actual implementation. After a while, when you're in the actual implementation, you start seeing consequences of things. You start seeing relationships which you never see at the beginning. So it's very important that your counterpart is flexible and would understand that without billing you $1 million every day, which is the case mostly in many implementations. But in any case, if I would say anything, I would say that the concept of fund transfer pricing, or FTP, has become very important in all banks. But even in the banks abroad, it is still evolving. We went to a couple of workshops, international workshops, before doing the implementation, just to make sure we have a proper understanding of what we want. And there are high-level workshops of what is being implemented worldwide and how are the major international banks implementing FTP and why, and what are the different models, the different possibilities for you to do things. And this has been evolving, and we've been looking at this for several years now, 2 or 3 years, and it is actually changing. So one thing I would say, you really need to know that your bank has a clear understanding of fund transfer pricing concept, and that somebody or a group, at least in the bank, master this and they own it, and I would advise that they would do internal workshops first in the bank from a business and financial point of view to make sure that the business and the finance understand this and they know what do they want out of it. Because when you come to implementation, you're going to be asked a lot of questions. What do you want? The system offers many possibilities. So you need to have known and looked at what is it that you want, what's your strategy, what is it, in what way are you gearing the business, and you're going to have a lot of fights between the business units and finance and risk management because this will affect how things go, it will affect how the profitability of the different business units look like and so on. So you really need to know that this exists, there is a clear understanding, there is ownership, and you have conducted workshops before coming to the actual implementation. The other major finding maybe has also to do from a business point of view of really having to have a very clear understanding of your balance sheet structure from a liquidity and interest rate point of view. All the issues of liquidity management and liquidity matches and mismatches and your behavioral liquidity, your contractual liquidity, how does your liquidity react and behave and so on are so critical for you also to come and answer a lot of questions that you're going to be asked at the implementation, and understanding interest rate risk and the interest rate matching and repricing. And these things, trust me, are not very well understood among all banks, and in the Middle East and in Jordan, they're new to many people. So I really need to enhance these concepts first. And third, of course, which is the eternal challenge, data. You really have to make sure that data is ready, that you do not have data gaps, and you will find that OFSA and Hyperion, and mainly OFSA maybe, require a great level of details. You really have to have a lot of details captured online for you to really get accurate results and make the benefit of the system. Otherwise, and you cannot, in this case, you cannot rely on anything manual because the system has to read the data and it has to read information and financial information to the smallest detail for it to give you very accurate results and results that you can make decisions according to. So I would say these are the things that we have learned so far. I would say that we hope to go live possibly in a couple of months, and if you want, I can give you another insight after we see how it goes. But having looked at IGABI before the presentation and IGABI on the ground, I would gladly and happily say that it was a great experience. And I'm a very tough customer, and many people in Jordan know that. I'm very hard to please generally, and not easy. But I can tell you that it was an outstanding performance, and it was great. The team showed great technical and functional knowledge in products and in how banks work, in the financial modeling of banks. And what is really great, and I don't say this with any compliments that are not real, there is a great understanding of the customer side and great flexibility to actually respond to what the customer needs and what is required in terms of change of requirements, in enhancing things, in sometimes adding things that the bank was not aware of at the beginning. I would say that one more thing, maybe, which is very nice. For me, it was great, and I have a personal bias towards Egypt and the Egyptian culture, but I think it's not a bias. All the bank today share this with me, because it's in the Egyptian culture that people are extremely pleasant and extremely absorbent of other people. So at the time, people were stressed, but you would find them all laughing and trying to speak colloquial Egyptian. so actually, they would be fighting, but it would sound very pleasant. so basically, it made the experience very nice and pleasant versus the Jordanian way of negotiation and discussion. So that was really something that is really pleasant. And in conclusion, I would say that IGABI are a platinum partner to Oracle, and definitely they are a platinum partner to Regulator. And we would always consider them for any business that is in the domain of what we are doing. And we would like to thank you And we hope to thank you again in a few months when things are working and things are going well. Thank you very much.